The sun rose in Dry Creek with a strange stillness, as if the world were holding its breath. Light came not with warmth, but with a kind of apology, filtering through dust that turned the air amber. Boots shuffled. Whispers passed like ghosts between wagon wheels and fence posts. This wasn't just market day. It was hanging day. Boone Callahan rode in just after first bell, not looking for trouble, just a cow. A milk giver, calm and full-bodied, something to soften the cold of his ranch mornings. His mare, Dusty, snorted at the heat. The town hadn't changed. Same leaning saloon, same rusted troughs, same stairs that lasted too long. He tied his reins and walked toward the pens, his gait steady, but something in the air snagged him. A sound. Bells. Low and offbeat. That's when he saw the gallows. Thrown together from raw pine and rope, it stood beside the cattle ring like a curse nobody spoke aloud. A woman stood atop the platform, hands bound in front of her, face calm like stone warmed by the sun. She didn't beg. She didn't flinch. But something in her stillness made Boone's throat tighten. He should have kept walking. He almost did. But then a small voice caught him, so soft it might have been the wind, but it wasn't. "Please." A tug on his coat. He looked down. A child stood barefoot in the dirt, a doll clutched to her chest, her hair wild like prairie grass in a storm. Eyes green as glass in sunlight, wide and solemn. "It's my mommy's last day alive." The words broke something in him. Not loud. Quiet, like a note struck in the center of an old, hollow piano. Boone crouched slowly, boots creaking. The girl's breath caught. "What's your name?" he asked. "Rose," she whispered. "Your mama?" "Lillian. They say she stole. But she didn't. She just wanted to go. Go." Boone had heard that word before, from another mouth, his wife Catherine, coughing blood on a freezing floor. "Let me go," she'd said. But he hadn't. He held on until her fingers stopped answering. He looked at the scaffold again. Lillian stood not like a thief, but like a woman already halfway to the next world. Her lips were bruised, but her chin stayed high. There was dirt on her knees, a cut at her temple, but no shame, just waiting. Boone rose to his full height. "Stay close to me, Rose." The girl nodded, tiny hand slipping into his without hesitation. He walked back into the gathering, every step crackling with tension. Sheriff Grady stood near the gallows, badge gleaming like a warning. "Boone Callahan," the sheriff said flatly. "Didn't figure you for a bleeding heart." Boone said nothing. "Woman's a thief. Tried to run off with a man's silver. We've got law here." "Law ain't justice," Boone replied. The sheriff squinted. "You here to make a speech?" Boone looked down at Rose. "Just here to listen to one." "Hers." The crowd stirred. From the edge, a woman stepped forward, Tessie Grady, the sheriff's daughter. Her hands trembled as she held out a folded letter. "She didn't steal," Tessie said, her voice breaking. "She refused Eli Danner. He planted the coin. I saw him. I tried to speak. He threatened me." Boone took the letter gently, unfolded it. Ink blurred with sweat, but the words were clear. Eli's confession. He handed it to the sheriff, who read in silence. His jaw worked side to side like a man chewing nails. "Cut her down," he finally said. Nobody moved. So Boone did. He climbed the scaffold. The crowd parted, breathless. He untied the rope with slow, careful hands. Lillian swayed when her wrists were freed, and for a second she collapsed. He caught her. She didn't look at him, just held on to the edge of his coat as though it were the last real thing in the world. Rose ran forward. "Mama!" Boone stepped back as mother and daughter clung to each other, tears soaking into sunburned skin and braided hair. Lillian's body shook, but she didn't cry aloud. Only when she looked up at Boone did the silence break. "Why did you come back?" she asked, voice hoarse. "I didn't," he said. "You found me." They left Dry Creek at dusk, one horse carrying 3 souls. The wind was softer past the town's edge, and Rose fell asleep pressed between them. Lillian didn't speak until the moon rose high. I thought I was ready to die, she said. But then she said your name. Boone's hands tightened on the reins. I ain't nobody's hero. She didn't need a hero. Just someone to believe her. Their eyes met. Not long. Just enough. They camped near a dry riverbed. Boone made coffee. Lillian sat beside the fire, her daughter asleep against her chest. My husband died in a flood, she said. Rose was just 2. I worked at the saloon, cleaned floors, cooked bread. That man, Eli, he offered me a way out. I didn't take it. So he made sure no one would give me one again. Boone nodded, staring into flame. You ever lose someone? She asked softly. Everyone, he replied. She moved closer, not to touch but to not be apart. Do you believe people like us get another life? She whispered. Boone's voice was low. Not another. Just a slower one. Lillian smiled barely. That'd be enough. The next morning, Rose helped collect kindling. Boone showed her how to tie rope. Lillian made biscuits with river salt and wild sage. They didn't name what they were building. They just built. Boone fixed the barn door. Lillian planted sunflowers. One evening, she touched his shoulder before walking inside. Just once. That night, he carved her a wooden bird and left it on her windowsill. Love didn't arrive loud. It arrived in boiled potatoes, in mended coat, in the way Boone watched Lillian's hands when she braided Rose's hair. It arrived in silence, in the absence of fear. Weeks passed. The land healed faster than their hearts, but healing it was. One day, Rose ran to Boone with a drawing, 3 stick figures, 1 horse, a fire, and a heart. He pinned it above the hearth. And one night, as rain tapped on the roof like shy knuckles, Boone found Lillian watching him across the room. She stepped closer, not with a kiss, but with a whisper. Thank you for not walking away. Boone reached for her hand. Thank you for still being here. Outside, the gallows in Dry Creek stood abandoned, swallowed slowly by weeds and silence. Inside, 3 souls sat by the fire, not saying the word love, because they were living it. And if ever you find yourself near a noose of your own, be it sorrow, shame, or silence, remember this. Not all rescues arrive on horseback. Sometimes they walk in, quiet as dust, and stay. Let them. Let yourself be held. Let yourself begin again.